Time to go. Have you finished your holiday homework? Seema asked Geeti. Not all of it. I have to start packing as well. Geeti let out a sigh. She walked back home that day looking at the calendar on her bedroom wall. The earlier part of the month was filled with red crosses, days she had eagerly marked off, counting down until she could return to her regular life. But the rest of the month stood blank. Those were the days she had stopped wanting to leave. Time had flown by, and now it was time to go. Her holidays were ending, but something had changed. Going back to the hostel was no longer something she looked forward to. Part of her didn't feel ready to leave at all. Choti Dadi walked in with a steel container holding homemade laddus. Have this every morning. They will give you strength, she said, keeping it near the pile of things on the bed for Geeti to pack. Should I help you pack? She offered, as she saw Geeti placing the clothes slowly and deliberately in her suitcase. No, Choti Dadi, I need to do it by myself. Geeti smiled through the mess surrounding her. Geeti turned around and hugged her grandmother tightly. Thank you, Choti Dadi. Geeti's voice caught in her throat. She hadn't expected the tears, but suddenly they were rolling down her cheeks. Bimla gently turned Geeti around and pulled her close, softly wiping away the tears with the ends of her soft sari. Beta, she whispered, it's all right to feel sad about leaving. A gentle knock interrupted the moment. The colonel stood in the doorway, holding something in his hands. I have something for you, he said, his voice softer than usual. He stepped forward and held out a well-worn book. This belonged to your father. He ran his hand over the worn cover, holding it a little longer. Geeti's breath caught. She stepped forward slowly, taking the book with both hands as if it were made of glass. Her grandfather rarely spoke about her father, and when he did, his words seemed heavy. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Keep this, he said, clearing his throat. Geeti's eyes lit up. Your father loved that book, he said fondly. Thank you, she whispered as she turned the soft pages one by one. She looked up at him and then quickly added, I could return it once. She paused, not knowing what to say. It's yours now, he interrupted gently. Geeti smiled, holding the bookcase. A warm feeling spread through her chest. She turned back to her suitcase and stared at the half-folded clothes. Her fingers moved slowly now. Her eyes wandered to the side table, to the drawing book that still lay open. The last page showed her and her grandfather sitting together with the gramophone, smiling back at her. It was a memory that hadn't been created yet. A lump rose in her throat. She remembered the time she took to add that little smile to his face. She hadn't realized it until now, but something inside her had changed. She had come expecting to count the days, and now she wasn't sure she wanted to leave. She looked up at Choti Dadi, who was carefully arranging the laddus in a tin. I didn't think I'll miss this place, Geeti said quietly, her voice catching. Choti Dadi turned to her, surprised, then smiled. You'll come back, she said, with a certainty that settled Geeti's heart. Geeti nodded, wiping her cheek with the back of her sleeve. I will, if you like to. Geeti could not hold back and hugged her again, tightly this time. I'd love to. You know, you hold this pencil like your father did. A little tilted, she smiled, running her fingers through Geeti's hair. You'll write to us, won't you? I will. I'll also send you my drawings, Geeti answered enthusiastically. She closed the suitcase and sat beside it for a moment. The house had grown on her. The dusty gramophone, the heavy bookshelves, even the early morning sun that poured in through the eastern window. and above all, her grandfather, who wasn't scary anymore, just quiet in a way she was beginning to understand. She took a deep breath. It was time to go, but not to leave. Just then, as she sat by her packed suitcase, she heard a scuffle of footsteps in the corridor. Chotu stood by the door, flanked by Seema and Ranu. They looked awkward at first, unsure if they should be a part of this farewell. But Geeti beamed at them, and the awkwardness melted. Seema peeked in first, holding something behind her back. "I brought you something," she said, stepping forward with a small paper bag. "Mango toffees? And when you miss us, when you definitely will." Geeti laughed through her tears. She had come to love the sweet and tangy mango-flavored candy which Seema had shared with her during their time together. "I definitely will." Ranu appeared next, characteristically quiet but holding a neat folded paper. "It's Rag Marwa," he said simply. "The one you loved. I wrote down the notes so you won't forget." Geeti took it like a treasured map. His neat swaras across the paper marking the music she had come to love. Finally, Chotu scuffled in, his eyes fixed on the floor. When Geeti looked at him expectantly, he glanced up, blinking fast. "You'll write to us, right?" "Every week," Geeti promised, then leaned closer and whispered, "And don't let anyone else find out our secret place." His shy, crooked smile was all the answer she needed. They stood there for a moment, all of them unsure what to say next. The silence was heavy with something that felt bigger than goodbye. Harpreet Singh had already placed her luggage in the trunk, and it was time for Geeti to get inside the car. Everyone had lined up ready to bid her goodbye. She stopped for a moment before getting in. She rushed towards her grandfather, who stood stoically looking at her. She wrapped her arms around him and he bent down to pick her up. "You're heavy," he smiled through the flicker of tears welling up his eyes. They both smiled. The morning air was crisp with the promise of a new season. The mango trees' leaves rustled in the courtyard, and somewhere in the distance she could hear the familiar call of the cuckoo bird from the government quarters. These sounds, which had seemed foreign, now felt like a safe home she was not willing to leave. As the car pulled away, Geeti looked back at the row of people standing in front of the house. Her grandfather, Choti Dadi, Ranu, Seema, and Chotu all waved until she could no longer see them. She clutched her father's book and the folded paper with the notes of Rag Marwa close to her chest. She had arrived as a visitor, counting days until she could leave. Now she was leaving with the knowledge that she had found a place she could truly call home. Perhaps this was the feeling of Marwa, the bittersweet longing for something that wasn't gone forever, just temporarily out of reach, something she would return to. She looked forward to the next summer in civil lines, when she could hear the rags again and play with her friends.